What's up, everybody?
Hi, everyone.
It's time for another Inside the Relationship. We are here. It's Sunday.
It is Sunday.
It's
Happy
time for another
Sunday.
Inside the Relationship. Listen, we're gonna get right into this because we started a little bit late, so we're gonna get right into this. We got a couple of things that we want to talk about. Some things in the media mixed down. It's kind of crazy in media mixed down. So I'm really waiting to hear what folk have to say about that. So listen, let's get into it. Let's go. It's time for Inside the Relationship. So let's go to the intro.
Let's go.
Where is the intro?
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. All right, we are here. It is Oliver and Denise. We are here with another episode of Inside the Relationship. If you haven't watched the other episodes of Inside the Relationship, make sure that you watch those. Very good episodes. If you are here watching live or whether you're watching on the replay, let us know you're here. Also, share this with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Share it with someone. It is as simple as clicking the share button on whatever platform you're on. We hope that you're on YouTube,
Yes.
but clicking the share button on whatever platform you are on and sharing that with your neighbor. So here we are.
Here we are.
It's another week. Let me say this. Let me just I'm gonna plug this at the beginning and then I'll plug it at the end. There are a couple other ways that you can hear from us as well. If you're on our YouTube community, there's some other ways that you can hear from us. One of those other ways is a show that is called Have a Conversation After Dark.
Mm-hmm. Good show.
Have a Conversation After Dark is a show where we are literally bringing up things that are either tense conversations or that are conversations that are typically taboo.
Yep.
And it's not to give you any advice. It's just to bounce ideas around so that you will have the
Get into the habit of having
having
these
these conversations.
conversations.
So
Yeah.
make sure that you are there for that. That is Saturdays at 10 10 o'clock p.m.
10
Eastern
p.m.
Standard
Eastern.
Time.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and check that out. There's also another series that we're really grateful, we really love, and that is Coaching Chronicles every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you are there for that. All right. So who we got? We got anybody with us in the building? Shout, let us know you're here if you're with us in the building. We're going to actually kind of dive right into this because, like I said, we started a few minutes late. This media mix down, and let me pull this article up real quick. And while I'm pulling that article up, how was your day today?
Oh, good. Even today it's been productive, so been very
Okay.
good. Good day. Good day.
Uh, okay.
Yep. Good day.
My day, I don't know. I'm out of sorts a little bit, but it's all good. Let me find this article. It was from, and I had it upstairs. I had it on a different machine, so I gotta find it. Um,
Can you talk about it while you look for it?
I can
At
talk
least
about it.
like the gist of
While
it.
I can talk about it while I look for it. And that's what happens when you're running super late. Um, that's what happens when you're running super late. But anyway, so it's the media mix down. Let's who we got? We got somebody in the comments. Let's see who we got in the comments before we go through that. We got JoJo in the comments. What's
What's up,
happening,
Joe?
JoJo? Thank you for being here. JoJo was with us last night for that conversation. I need water and all of that, man. It's crazy. I need water. But JoJo was with us with that conversation last night. That we talked last night. We talked about. Um, Man,
So last
my
night
mind is just not
we
working today.
talked about there was a gentleman that put on one of the marriage support groups or whatever you want to call it, said that his wife has stopped shaving and she plans on not shaving her legs anymore. It's something that she used to do all of the time, And she just decided, I don't know if it was just decided, I don't know the background to it as to her reasoning why, but she doesn't want to shave her legs anymore. And so her husband, I guess, is like, that's attractive to me. That's a preference that I have, that her legs are smooth and hairless. And so people, I guess, were coming at him in the comments saying it's her body, she should be able to do what she wants to do. And then there were other people that were saying, hey, that's a preference that you have, and it should still be a preference, and she, the woman, should uphold that. That's what we were talking about last night.
Yeah, you got to go check that out. You got to check that one out, and you got to check the first one out. Good evening, Judith. Thank you for being here. Blessings on you as
Good
well.
evening.
Jojo said, I'm cooking dinner with hubby while listening to you guys. That's what's up.
Awesome.
That's what's up.
So, for the record, for those people that did watch the show last night, I freshened up my legs.
Yeah, only a few people will get that.
Only a few people will get that. You're gonna have to watch the show. The show from last night to understand. But I freshened up my legs. I had to shave and smooth them out because there was a little bit of stubble on there. And I know that that is your preference, even though you're not fussy about it. It's not a deal breaker, but it is a preference. So I had to make sure that I was in good standing. I don't want him writing on any support groups about me to anyone. So I had to make sure that, I kept things.
It's all gravy.
How they wanted to be.
It's all gravy. Let's jump into this media mix down real quick. This is an interesting one. I'm very interested to hear your take and to hear others as well. So it's time for. All right.
Media mix down.
It's time for the media mix down. Judith, you said you missed it. Yeah, but it's there. So just go.
You can go back.
Go
and
to
watch
our
it.
YouTube channel.
You can watch.
Got to go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Denali LLC. We'll put it up in a little while. But if you go to the YouTube channel, it's all there. Jojo said, good for you. The pressure was on.
The pressure was on indeed. I was like, it's been a few days. I need to freshen that up.
So listen, here's a very interesting, and not for the reason maybe you think, but very interesting media mix down today. I was reading an article. Let me show you the picture. I was reading an article about Alexis Watts, who is 28 years old, from Central Valley, California. This is her husband, Christopher. They met at a swingers event. So you kind of already know where I'm going. So they met at a swingers event, but here's what the headline of the article says, that pregnant mom of 4 insists that dating multiple people has made her marriage stronger.
Well,
dating multiple people has made her marriage stronger. And let me just pull some stuff from the article that she said. She said that she claims her relationship with this guy that she's dating now for the last 2 years has made communication better between her and her husband.
Interesting.
She believes that she has more to give. She believes that also this guy meets needs that her husband does not meet.
Oh, my goodness.
That's interesting.
That is
interesting. Now here, go ahead.
That's interesting, but given where she and her husband met, it's not. I'm not surprised to hear that she says that.
So here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. My thing is not so much the polyamorous scenario that they're in. I believe most of the people who watch us and are connected with us probably have a similar viewpoint about the polyamorous lifestyle.
Right.
That's not where I want to go, though.
Okay.
Because that's, you're gonna land on one side of the coin on that regardless. My thing is the statement that she made that, and I'm going to quote her. She said that my boyfriend meets needs my husband can't. For example, he's a therapist, so we have deeper conversations.
Who's the therapist? The
The
boyfriend?
boyfriend.
Okay.
Now, to give context, she is also a therapist.
Mm.
So the boyfriend is a therapist. So because of that, we have deeper conversations. In fact, we weren't intimate for a very long time because our emotional connection was so strong.
Mm.
So forget about the whole she's sleeping with all of them as well. That's a whole that's a Saturday night conversation.
Yeah.
My thing is it possible? Here's what I'm pulling from that. Is it possible that your spouse cannot meet all your needs?
Uh, maybe. Maybe so.
I'm asking you specifically.
That you can't meet all
Right.
of my needs. Not that I can think of.
Okay. For those of you who are watching, we only got a couple people watching right now. Is it possible? And I know JoJo's cooking, so her hands might not be free. Is it possible that your spouse cannot meet all of your needs? That's the thing I took from this.
Hmm.
And obviously, we can talk about the lifestyle and whether we agree with the lifestyle and whether we don't agree with the lifestyle. And I can say from my point of view that it definitely muddies the water to be sleeping with a whole bunch of people and you're married. That muddies the water. But that's that lifestyle. And they're cool with that. Her husband is on board with that. That's the thing that they decided. So that's not the big thing for me. The thing for me is it possible? Because there's another lady that's real famous in that lifestyle. She has I forgot her name, but she's got a gazillion followers on Instagram. She always says that one person is not supposed to meet all your needs.
Hmm.
So she has, and her husband, this other lady, they have individuals who tend to different aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And so it all, in their mind, all works because of that.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Judah says she has to if them. I'm not sure what you're saying. Same sometime,
Yeah, not sure what that means.
not it around.
I-
Are we asking for a perfect spouse? We have two imperfect,
Right.
yeah, two imperfect individuals. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So that was just the thing for me, and I had to, I don't feel like there are needs that I have that I need somebody else to meet.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's there. I think through counseling and honest dialogue, your spouse can meet all of your needs. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now here's let's paint a clear, realistic picture. There may be some negotiation involved.
That's what I was just about to say. Yes. Especially too, since and I say this all the time, as we progress in our marriage and as we evolve and as we grow, you may have a need that you didn't need before, but that doesn't mean that you should necessarily, in my opinion, go seek out getting that need fulfilled elsewhere. What you should do is bring it to your spouse and let them know how you want that need to be met. And then talk about it with your spouse. And then, you can say to me, well, we've never done this before. How does that look?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want from me? What do you expect? Not what do you want from me in a frustrated way, but how can I help you fulfill that need? What do you need for me to do?
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I just had a couple do an exercise just last week where they had to write out their most important emotional needs. And we talked through what that was to give them an idea of what they should be, focusing on. I had them to put 3 categories on this piece of paper. So the first was their needs. The second was expectations / facilitation. And in that section, what they had to put was, what do you expect? There's certain things they had to put on there because I'm trying to paraphrase. So they had to, essentially what I had them do, forget about what they put on the page. Essentially what I had them do was express their need, express why the need is important.
Right.
how the need will benefit the team,
Right.
and what can I do. I switched it on them because no, most usually we tell couples to ask what, or tell the other person what they can do to facilitate it.
Mm-hmm.
I had them switch it. I said, what can I do to help facilitate that?
What do you mean?
So for example, how can I help you
Right.
in a way that will allow you to be able to meet the need?
Got you.
Right?
Okay. Got you. Got you. Got
So
you.
I'm saying all that to say that's the kind of conversation you got to have.
Right.
Your spouse needs to know what is it that you need, what your most important emotional needs are, why are those needs important, how will the facilitation or the meeting of those needs benefit the team, and what does facilitation look like? Just what you said, right? Because
go ahead.
I was going to say, because you may present something to me and I have no idea how to do that. So now you have to help me by letting me know what is it I can do to facilitate that.
Okay, but if I can tell you what to do, why can't I just do it myself? If I have to tell you what to do, doesn't that mean that I can do it myself?
Not all the time.
Okay.
I mean, you can't always fulfill your most important emotional needs.
Okay.
Because if, let's say, the need is for connection.
Yeah.
Then what I would tell the client is, okay, connection is what I call an umbrella word. Meaning that there's some things that are under that we got to unpack. So what does connection look like to you?
So if that was me and my need was connection, and I had to help you fulfill my need, what would I say to you? Something like, when you see me do XYZ, or when you hear me say XYZ, that means that I'm seeking connection from you. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly, because this particular couple that we did the exercise for, they're missing cues left and right.
Gotcha.
And what I'm trying to push them to do is say some specific things. Right? Because what'll happen is, and I'm guilty of this, so that's how I know I can speak to it, because if there's something you need and you don't say anything, or you feel like you're giving out the cues and the other person is not, whether verbal or nonverbal, they need to know that.
Yeah. Yes.
And I agree with it. I think it was Stacy that said, I'll put it back up again, you, through honest dialogue, through counseling, honest dialogue, your spouse can meet all your needs. So for this person to say, and I'm gonna give you another quote from her. She said, people think that polyamory is about sex, but it isn't. It's about relationships and having more love to give.
Okay.
Again, do I have more love than my spouse has the capacity to handle? So I have to give it to somebody else.
Right. That's what I was going to say. If you have more love to give, why don't you give that more love to your spouse?
That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine you, I can't imagine you having more love to give to me, and then me being like, okay, that's just too much love.
Yeah.
Back off. That. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen. So here's my take. Right. I do not believe that there are needs that your spouse cannot meet. I do believe that, and Judah says some men don't understand women. I put up JoJo's comment asking your spouse how I can serve. Now, here's the thing. I agree. Some men don't understand women.
Don't understand women, but if we're talking about your spouse, if we're talking about your wife here, just because you don't understand doesn't mean that you should not try to understand.
Oh, of course.
Or have,
absolutely.
Or, make sure that there are opportunities to learn your spouse.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree that some men don't understand women and vice versa.
Right.
But there's an opportunity to learn. Do you want to learn is the question.
And here's my thing. I've never sat down with someone who is in the poly lifestyle.
I haven't either.
So, and that's number one. Number two, it is not my place to judge anybody's lifestyle.
Right.
I'm telling you that I don't believe that it is impossible or I don't believe that there a scenario exists where all of my needs cannot be met by one person.
Agreed.
And so I need to spread that around to other people.
Yeah.
That's just me. I
Yeah.
believe that you should be taking the time to learn your spouse
Mm-hmm.
by asking the same way you would take the time, how you would learn anything else in life, by asking questions, by studying,
Study.
by reading,
Yes.
by asking other people who may be well versed in it. Whatever it is that you do outside of marriage to learn things,
Right.
do the same thing inside of marriage to
Yeah.
learn your spouse.
Yeah.
And then you guys have to have a session, a series of sessions, because this happens throughout the course of your marriage, where you are sharing with each other your most important emotional needs,
Mm-hmm.
why those needs are important, how those needs benefit the team, and what can the two of you negotiate as it relates to getting these
Getting
needs
the
met.
needs met.
Then you make
Absolutely.
a commitment that, hey, I'm going to be the person to do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe.
I agree.
I don't know that there's yeah, I don't know that there's more love to give. You know, I would love, however, and this is going to happen. I'm putting this out in the atmosphere. One, because I already know one person that I think I'm going to talk to, but I am going to do a show at some point on alternative lifestyles, and I'm gonna have some people on here. I don't know anybody in the poly lifestyle. I'm going to search out somebody, but I do know somebody who's in the same sex relationship. Somebody that I think is a phenomenal person, and I would like to talk to her about that. So we're going to talk about that, but that's the media mix down. Put your thoughts in the comments. Listen, and it's not about a right or wrong. Put your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that it's possible that all your needs cannot be met by one person, so you need multiple people, or not? Let us know in the comments. All right, let's keep it going. We're good. You got any more to say about that?
No.
All right. So next up, and this day is weird for me. Just mental fog is happening. All right, so that was the media mix down. Let's get into the question of the day, question of the week. Here we go. All right, let me throw up the question of the week, and then I'm gonna give some context, because I couldn't again put all the question in there. So, question of the week is this:
My wife seems to get mad out of nowhere and says I'm attacking her. Then she shuts down or gets verbally aggressive. I don't feel like my approach warrants this behavior. What can we do to fix this? So my wife seems to get mad out of nowhere and says I'm attacking her.
Yeah, let me give you some context, because that's not the entire thing that was written. So,
Okay.
Jojo said, I'm just thinking to myself, everything that we worked on and accomplished together to have what we have today. Why would I want to put any energy? Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage in itself is work. Yeah. It's an interesting
point.
scenario. And I want to definitely unpack that with someone who is in that lifestyle at some point. So that's going to happen. So the context around this is that whenever they attempt to have a conversation, especially a conversation where they may have opposing
Viewpoints.
this person feels like they always approach it in a way that is not going to cause a lot of conflict, is not going to cause a blow up. Always feels like they approach it in a way that would allow for productive conversation.
Okay.
But immediately she just goes into attack mode.
Okay. She then shuts down or gets verbally aggressive. Do you know what that sounds like to me? The first thing that I thought of is it's just her way of not dealing with the issue.
Could be.
To make it seem as though it's just like a defense mechanism. Like, I don't want to handle this. I don't want to talk about this. So let me pretend that I'm mad so that we don't have to necessarily address the actual issue. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be way off.
That's a possibility.
That's true. But
Defense
so,
mechanism of some kind.
yeah, a defense
Mhm.
mechanism. Then she shuts down or gets verbally aggressive. I don't feel like my approach warrants this behavior. And then here's the next thing.
Mhm.
Is this the same approach? Are we doing the same thing? You know what
Mhm.
I'm
That's
saying?
interesting because that's what. So, and I didn't want to make it seem like I was putting it on the other person
Mm-hmm.
to make it like it's their fault. I had two sides of this coin. One side is um, that kind of behavior and being verbally aggressive comes from something
Mm-hmm.
else. If you peel back the layers,
Yeah.
right, there is something else, and it could be a myriad of things. It could be this is how these kinds of tense conversations were handled in her family, and so family of origin plays an influence in how she feels like she needs to address these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like you said, it's a defense mechanism.
Not even
I'm
address
trying to
the
kick
issue.
this thing under the table. And so if
Mm-hmm.
I can, this is my way to back out of it kind of thing. That could be as well. What?
Um, yeah, so I guess my point, my next thought is, like I was saying, are you trying to approach this the same way every time? And if so, maybe you should try a different approach.
That's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of the coin. Um, you're right. The other side of the coin is evaluate your approach,
Yes.
right? So you may feel like your approach does not um, warrant this kind of behavior,
Right.
but there may be a specific word or specific
A
phrase in
trigger.
your approach
Yeah. A
that is a
trigger.
trigger
Yeah.
based on what I said on the other side of the coin, which is how maybe she saw things dealt with. And every time somebody said boom, 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 the world caught on fire.
Right.
And so now in your approach, even though it doesn't seem like that to you,
Mm-hmm.
you're being nice and listen here, I want to talk to you and listen, I want to share my thoughts with you and boom, 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 and boom, boom, boom was a
Yeah.
trigger.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the two sides of that, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
that have to be explored. Um, and I saw JoJo said it sounds like an adult temper tantrum, sounds like unresolved childhood trauma or internal issues or pain.
Right.
And it could definitely be all of that, right? All that particular, I feel like I'm being attacked, could definitely stem from something else.
Yeah. And
Um,
then too, have you talked to your wife about the the way she gets mad out of nowhere? Like, not like what's up with you, what is your problem, but how can I help you? Because I don't want to make you mad.
mhm,
So what is it that I'm doing that is upsetting you?
mhm,
Because I don't want to upset you.
yeah,
What is it about this conversation or when we have these conversations that makes you upset? That's not my intent.
mhm,
But it appears that I am, like, put the blame on you. It appears that I
mhm,
am upsetting you, and I don't want to do that because when we have these conversations, you appear mad
mhm.
or whatever. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing that is upsetting you?
Yeah. What am I doing? What am I saying? What are
Right.
the
What am I
what are the
saying?
words? Right. Um, and we had to. I had a client like this where we had to go through and break this down
Mm-hmm.
and really walk through. And I had them literally take me step by step, word by word, through a particular conflict that
Yeah.
that went way left,
Mm-hmm.
and we picked apart all of that.
Right.
And it came out in that conversation that when you say this, when you say X, Y, Z, I feel like you're dismissing me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to feel like I need to be heard. So I do such and such and such and
Right.
such.
Yep. Yep.
Then
Yep.
then the guy's like, well, when you do such and such and such, now I feel like this and this and this, right? And so we're causing this chain reaction
Mm-hmm.
that when we peel the layers back, all stems back to uh a couple of
Word
words
choices. Yeah.
and some body language.
Mm. Yeah.
And literally, I'm gonna tell you, this is a literal thing. I'm not making this up. When you get up, we're having this conversation on the bed. You get up and then you walk away over to the window or to the door. Body language. And the dude is like, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together.
Mm.
Like I'm not disrespecting you, but then the thing is, hey, listen, I get that. I get you're not trying to disrespect her, but this is not about picking apart your motive.
Yeah.
This is about adjusting to the outcome.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not about picking apart. I get it. Your motive is not, your intent is not malicious. I get that. But this is
Yeah.
not about picking apart your intent.
Yeah.
This is about making adjustments to the outcome.
Right.
Right? Jimmy Rogers is in the house. My guy.
What's up, Jimmy?
If you're not following Jimmy, make sure you're following Jimmy. In a lot of cases, when a person is being challenged on their behavior, any form of avoidance is used to not to acknowledge their fault. Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's what we were saying in the beginning. So it could be any number of things. And so
Right.
here's what I would suggest, because you can't necessarily just throw some do this at this kind of question.
Correct.
There are some things that have to be unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
One, you gotta understand where this behavior is coming from. You got to understand too if you're part of what triggers that behavior.
Right. Because you could be.
Right, because you could be. 3, now you got to work on what the adjustments are based on what you've identified.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a conversation between the two of you. That may also, like you said, it's a conversation between the two of you. It may also need somebody else.
Yeah, you may need a third party.
A coach, a therapist to come in and help you dig through the layers.
Right.
And do what I had to do with that couple and really go back to the very beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
And where does this chain reaction come from? And then if there are other things, family of origin things, like JoJo said, trauma and all of those kinds of things, you need to sit down with a clinical therapist.
Yeah, absolutely.
To unravel, unpack, dig up, excavate, if you will, those things and deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Begin the healing process and that kind of thing, so that you're open enough now to make the adjustments that will change the outcome.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Also, it was learned behavior from childhood. That's possible. That's very possible. And that's possible based on a set of triggers.
Right.
That they may have experienced, that every time this thing happens, this behavior happens, this nonverbal happens, these words are said, boom,
right,
fireworks
Yeah.
light off.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I would suggest to this couple is book a discovery call with us. Or it don't have to be us, because it ain't about us selling services right now.
There's plenty of coaches
There's
out there.
a whole bunch of people out there that can help work through that. Unresolved issues will cause problems in our relationships every time, bro.
Yeah,
every time. So here's the thing. That's the question of the day, of the week. And continue to put your thoughts in there about what you feel like should or should not take place. That's the question of the week. If you have questions that you want to send in, please send in your questions. We will do our best to address them. You can send them to admin@denali.org or media@denali.org. Either one of those that you can remember will come to the inbox that we need it to come to. And we will throw those questions up there for you. And we will do our best to, comment and see what we got going on.
And if you want to remain anonymous, let us know when you send us the question that you want to remain anonymous.
Absolutely. G, my guy. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show, big bro. In a lot of cases, there's unfamiliar territory that cause these situations to turn inward. Yep. Mm-hmm. And certain types of conflict resolution has never been explored.
Yeah.
Often there has to be a new standard, expectation, and process to resolve. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
100%. Mm-hmm. Agree with that 100%. And that's part of the process that we feel like needs to take place, right? That exploration process that G just talked about, that exploration part of the process is key to identifying where this is coming from.
Right.
And to also evaluate the other person's approach so that you can begin to make the proper adjustments on both ends of that, right? So listen, we got a very short little thing that we're gonna, every time we get past this, man, I'm having a rough time today. Every time we get past this section of the show, we kind of go into, I guess, what you could call a marriage minute. Maybe I should create a thing for that and just call it, marriage minute or
Marriage
something
minute.
like that.
Yeah.
That segment. But before we do that, we always have to get a word in from our sponsor. It's very important that we hear from our sponsor. Our sponsor is very, very important to us. Very, very, very crucial part of this show. And so, after
Indeed.
you hear a word from our sponsor, which indeed is us, then we'll get back into it. Yeah. All right. That's a word from our sponsor. We have on two of the shirts right now. If you are so inclined to be gracious enough to support us in that way, you can go to pressandsoul.com/Denali and you can get those shirts. We've talked about what these shirts mean. We won't really get into it right now, but these are not just cool shirts for you to have. These shirts represent something that we're very adamant about as it relates to community, as it relates to men's empowerment, as it relates to women's empowerment, and as it relates to the health of your relationship.
Yeah.
These are statements, these are declarations that are being made. So we urge, I'm going to use that word, we urge and welcome and are grateful for your support in that area.
For sure.
All right. So that's a word from our sponsor. So to get into this little area, this segment of what we're doing right now.
Man, sorry.
What's wrong?
My shoulder is really. Go ahead.
Shoulder hurts?
Yeah, no, it's just the stitching is bothering me.
Oh, okay.
It's probably not a good look.
That's a Saturday night show. Burn your bra. Saturday night show.
No, I'm talking about our sponsor, and the stitching is.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to keep that to yourself.
No, it's just
no.
I don't know what that is all about.
We're good. So here's what I want to talk about in a few minutes before we get to the last word. We were talking last night in our Have a Conversation After Dark show. We're talking about preference. And can preference change? And what do you need to do when preference changes?
Preference, yeah.
Right.
Can definitely change.
And it just got me to thinking about the kinds of conversations that we should be having. Right. And the kinds of conversations that we should be having, one of the kinds of conversations that we should be having periodically is a check-in kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And in that check-in conversation, you should be looking to, I'll put it this way, and G will get this because he's been through a lot of these, and maybe so many others have as well. The company that I used to work for, we did when I first started working for them, we did a mid-year evaluation and we did an end-of-year evaluation. By the time I left that company, we were actually doing this quarterly. So every so often, I'd have to create this write-up based on some questions that basically were asking me where I feel like I am now in relation to the goals that were previously set. What's the help that I need? And what do I think I could do better? Right?
Yeah.
I feel like we should be having these kinds of conversations with our
Absolutely.
spouse
100%.
periodically.
Definitely.
And they should sound just like that.
Yeah.
So first of all, hopefully you have some goals. Let's go back to the beginning of this first. Hopefully you have some goals. Hopefully you have a mission statement. You have a design for your marriage, how you want to see your marriage go, what the trajectory of your marriage should be. Hopefully you have that in place.
Mm-hmm.
Then periodically you go back and be like, hey, you know what? How are we doing?
Right. For sure.
How are we doing? Are we on track?
Yeah.
Are we doing the things we said we would do? Are we saying the things we said we would say?
Yeah.
Are we, whatever it is, like whatever, are we saving the amount of money we said we would save? Are we spending the
Right.
amount of money we said was, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you should be able to go through this with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about just like spending and saving and all that. I'm talking about all down to the nitty gritty. You know, are we as healthy as we said we were going to be? Are we as
Right.
sexy as we said we were going to be? Are we as attractive?
Everything.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then craft strategy to continue to stay on the same page,
Yeah.
even if the answer is no.
Right. Yep.
So even if the answer is no, hey, we're not, I'll pick one. We're not as healthy as we said we're going to be. Okay, what is the game plan that we need to put in place so that we, you notice I'm always saying we, how are we doing? What do we need to do? How are we going to do this? Right?
Yeah.
Because it's a team.
Yeah.
So how are we going to get this W? How are we going to get over this loss? Or how are we going to learn this lesson?
Because, and it's good that you said that if the answer is no, because sometimes, like if you think about it, even in your job, your corporate job, for those of you who do these evaluations,
Mhm.
sometimes you don't reach the goal, or you don't hit the goal that you had intended, that you and your superior talked about. Sometimes you don't meet that. Look, you said that you were going to do XYZ by third quarter. Have you done that? Well, no, I did this, but I wasn't able to reach this. Here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. And then you and your coworkers, if necessary, or you and your superior will be like, well, let's put some strategies in place so that you can meet the mark going forward, or meet the mark by XYZ, and we'll reconvene again and see how you're doing.
Yep.
You do that in your job. So
and
in the same way, you should be able to do that in your relationship too.
I agree with that. And I feel like that could potentially, I'm not going to say this is not across the board, because I don't want to say something and then be like, hey, I did what you said and it ain't work.
Yeah.
But that could potentially help you to avoid the scenario we talked about last night in the After Dark. Because if through these evaluations, it's coming to the surface that you're changing in a certain way and you're evolving in a certain way.
Yeah.
And we're looking at ways to incorporate that evolution into the nucleus of what will help this team to win.
Mm-hmm.
Then I may already know
Mm-hmm.
where your head is at as it relates to that particular preference.
Right.
And be able to game plan so in a way that it's not just a shock to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing too about having these check-ins is also, you know, when we have these check-ins, I could be thinking that I did exactly what I said I was going to do, my part.
Mm-hmm.
But then I need your feedback.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so you give me your feedback and you say, well, I saw that you did XYZ, but that's not quite what I thought we were going to do. I didn't think that that's what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I thought you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have that conversation like, oh man, I totally misunderstood what you were saying. I can do that going forward. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it may be just that we weren't thinking the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it's good that to have that feedback is what I'm saying from your spouse. And then your spouse can be like, well, this is what I thought you meant. And then you have that conversation and be like, okay, going forward, we're on the same page now. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to do.
And that's why those components that we talk about in communication are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Explanation, clarification, and negotiation.
Right.
Those three components are always a part of a productive conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't know that you're doing it, I
Mm-hmm.
promise you're doing some level of explanation, clarification, and negotiation in a productive conversation.
Right.
By the way, I shared your Have a Conversation workbook
Oh,
with
thank
Engaged Couple. Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for that. For those of you who may not know what we're talking about, because I don't think we've ever even mentioned that, have we?
I don't think so.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about the Have a Conversation Couples Journal.
Mm-hmm.
And the Have a Conversation Couples Journal is a resource that you can use to help to uh, begin some of the conversations that you need to begin. And so,
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much, JoJo, for that. That's dope. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing that for us. And yes, and here's another thing I'll say about the conversation piece. If if you are in a good evaluation situation, G said this is good. If you're in a good evaluation scenario, you'll notice that although time is spent on what did not happen,
Mm-hmm.
a good people leader will very quickly make the shift to the things that need to take place from a strategic standpoint to
Yes.
help you better align to the guiding principles of the company.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, here's where couples mess up. We spend a whole lot of time picking apart. Well, you didn't do this and you did that and you did okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. You did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The question now becomes what strategically needs to be adjusted so
Right.
that you can now better align
Yes.
to what you
Right.
put together in the
Yeah.
beginning.
And that's what I was thinking. Sometimes you may veer off course a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the, okay, wait a minute, let's regroup. Let's, refocus and get back on track to what the mission is or what the goal is, because we're veering off a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. As an HR professional, I apply performance review questions to my marriage and clients. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
It
Yep.
is
Yep.
golden indeed.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to take the marriage minute to say, if you are not already doing that,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're not already doing that, that's why SMART goals are important. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not already doing that, incorporate that into your routine. And be I couples who sit with us know I say this all the time. I'm very big on being specific. I'm not big on us talking about something and you saying okay and that's the end of that. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I need you to come up with a game plan. We're going to do this every week. We're going to do this every month. We're going to do this twice a year. Don't just say, yeah, that's a good idea, and then you don't implement it, because then this time next year, you're going to be getting the same results you're getting right now.
Yeah. That's good.
So if you're not incorporating this into your marriage, that is something that I encourage you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because what it will help you to do, it fills a whole lot of fulfills a whole lot of roles. It allows you to be clear about some things.
Right.
It allows you to learn some things, because during that process, you're going to be going through various stages of your life and you're going to be changing based on those stages.
Right.
So you're going to need to know what those changes are and know that about your spouse or significant other. It's going to help create a bond
Yes.
and strengthen that bond and strengthen that connection. It's going to give you confidence in your relationship.
Yeah.
Confident that we're on the same page. We're good friends. We are lovers. We are
Mm-hmm.
partners.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this. It gives you that confidence. So I urge you to do that.
Yeah. That's good.
Check in.
That's good. Have a check-in.
Have a check-in. All right.
And one last thought,
Mhm,
in
mhm.
having a check-in, I would schedule maybe at the beginning of the year or whenever you decide. Doesn't have to be the beginning of the year. Schedule how often and how frequently are your check-ins going to be.
Mhm.
I would suggest not just one a year, but if that works for you,
Yeah.
that works for you. But yeah, you should make sure that you're both on the same page as to how frequently your check-ins are going to be.
I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we're coming down to the end of our time together for this Sunday inside the relationship, and as such, it is time for the last word.
Hmm. What's the last word?
The last word is something that we always say at the end of the show, but I just feel like I should say it right now. Um, 2020 and the start of this pandemic brought a lot of stuff to the surface
Sure did.
for a
For a
lot of
lot of
people.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
You saw some talents come out of some folk that you didn't know they had.
Mm-hmm.
You also saw some evil come out of some folk that you didn't know they had.
Mercy.
Your relationship took a turn for the better or it took a turn for the worse, wherever
Yeah.
you fall on the scale. The thing that we discovered as, as that went by, the thing that we discovered is that we were not being as intentional
Yeah.
as we should be about continuing to grow our levels of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
So the last word is this. The last word is that you need to pay special attention to your intimacy levels. And I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about physical intimacy. I'm talking about spiritual intimacy. I'm talking about intellectual intimacy. I'm talking about experiential intimacy. I'm talking about conflict intimacy. Yes, that is a thing. And the list goes on.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I want you to pay special attention to your intimacy levels
Mm.
and have a conversation about where they are, where you want them to be,
Yeah.
and how are you going to get them there.
Right. Yeah. Slow down long enough to pay attention to where those intimacy levels are. It's very easy to get caught up. I mean, it happened to us. It's very easy to get caught up in the day to day
Mhm.
of life. And then when you have to slow down, like we had to in 2020 because of the pandemic, you notice that some of these intimacy levels are just not where they should be for your relationship. Everybody's level is different. So what everybody needs for their relationship is different. But slow down long enough to just take inventory of where those intimacy levels are, what needs patching up, what's going great, what you need to work on a little bit more. Just slow down long enough to notice
Yeah, that's
and
good.
then do something about it.
And then do something about it. That's good. Judith says she has homework to do. So do we, Judith. Listen, we're saying this in an advisory capacity, but we got to do the same thing.
It's a daily thing.
We got to do the same thing. So we all have homework to do.
Yeah.
And excuse me, Jojo said never use the word weakness.
Mm,
Always areas of opportunity.
that's
Absolutely.
right. Yep.
Always areas of opportunity. And I
Yeah.
love what G said. You got to incorporate some rewards.
That's good.
I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Incorporate some rewards. How will you reward one another for the work that you put in?
Or each other. Man, babe, we really hit the mark.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go out to
Let's
dinner.
go out
Let's
to
go out for a
dinner.
weekend.
Let's
Right.
Let's go spend the weekend
I love it.
somewhere. I love that.
Gee,
Love
that's
it,
on
love it.
point. That's on point, brother. So listen, that concludes another week of Inside the Relationship. As always, we welcome your comments. We welcome your opinions. This is not successful without your involvement. So we appreciate you. We thank you for that. And I said I would bookend it with this. We make sure that you are during the week you are catching some of the other opportunities to hang out with us. One of those is on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is for Coaching Chronicles. And on Coaching Chronicles, I am literally posting clips of actual coaching sessions.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you only see me. You don't hear anybody's names. I blank out a lot of that stuff. But they are actual coaching sessions, and I'm posting clips from those coaching sessions. And then on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, have a conversation after dark.
Most Saturday nights.
Most Saturday nights. We'll be there most. I can't guarantee we'll be there this coming Saturday night, but we'll let folks know. The way that you can know, especially for my Facebook family, is to head over to YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/Denali LLC and subscribe and hit the bell. That way you don't have to wonder when we're there because you'll be
You'll
notified
get a notification.
when we are there. So listen, that was a good one. That was a good one. Thank you to everybody that was in the comments. Stacy said, great information, awesome content. Thank you, Stacy,
Thanks,
for being a part of this.
Stacey.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Rewards is equivalent to a merit increase.
That's
That's
right.
right. I love it.
love that.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. The
that's
reward
good,
is
Joe.
that's right. And now that in and of itself
Incentive.
creates incentive
Hmm.
to continue to do the good work,
Encouragement.
right?
Yeah.
That you're doing, right? So listen, we're gonna get out of here. We hope that you enjoy your Sunday, the rest of your Sunday, and have a fantastic week. And I'll piggyback on what we said the last word is: be intentional today about creating an experience that allows you to grow your intimacy.
Hmm.
And then the last thing we're going to leave with you is this. What is it?
Until your 1+1 is 1, you're never done.
All right, family, we love you. We see you in the next video.
Bye, guys. Have a great